here in a little bit, and some other good stuff. If you've gotten the newsletters, the email newsletters thus far this week, static on the audio. All right, we're going over, people.
Is Glenn's on?
No, Glenn. Anyway, over to the house mics. If you've gotten the newsletters, the Gitty newsletter, the Nation newsletter, you know, we are running yet another sale this week, this time on all tools and templates. All tools and templates, that's fretting templates, jigs and guides and headstock all of that good stuff on sale right now, 20% off at cbgitty.com with the coupon code TOOLKIT19. All caps TOOLKIT19 will get you that 20% discount. You'll enter that during checkout, and that discount will be applied to all tools, templates, and related goodies from cbgitty.com. So, hopefully, sorry about that static to start things off. Nick tried to warn me that there was some kind of constant input on the line there. We'll get that figured out, but hopefully now, let me know here in the comments. I got your comments up. Confirm for us that the static has indeed gone away.
Yes, yeah, they've said it's better now.
All right, good. Because if it didn't, then I wouldn't know what else to do.
It wouldn't
to
be
be
an
honest.
episode of the Gitty Gang show without some sort of audio.
This is DIY TV, as we like to say. The Gitty Gangsters find a way to pull through somehow. So,
we ain't MacGyver, we can't fix it with bubblegum and...
So it went away before I switched over. Well, in that case, I have no idea what the heck's going on, folks. But anyway, nevertheless, we've got a good show for you this week. As I mentioned, Glenn is away this week. We're doing our best to fill in. Coupon code, 20% off, tools and templates at CB Gitty. Here's a little tidbit for you. Week ago, 2 weeks ago, we ran a new vid from April Mae and the June Bugs. That was last week, I think. I just noticed on their page today, I follow them on Facebook, you can get a free download of one of the tracks off of their new album. I've got a link in the script there to share with them. All you got to do is sign up for their email newsletter, and you'll get that free download link, a full, not resolution, full CD quality track from their newest album. Worth checking out. Catfish Dave playing a cigar box guitar on there. He's got the screaming lead guitar licks, and April Mae's voice is like out of this world, so check that out. Nick will share the link for you. There it is. Click on that, and by God, you'll be off and running. Another thing going on, starting today, we've been talking it up for a while now. See if you can guess. Got the Dynamite 3-string here. Well, come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Back to the same old place, sweet home, Chicago. That's right, the Chicago Cigar Box Guitar Festival launching off tonight, this evening. Our buddy Lou Shields gonna get it going. Mississippi Gabe Carter gonna be up there with Jeff Stone blowing on that old harmonica. They're gonna launch it off there at the Friendly Tap pub and bar room there in Berwyn, Illinois. It's one of the suburbs of Chicago, a few miles west of downtown. If you're anywhere in that area, hopefully you're already there or on your way there. If not, do your best to get there. There's going to be some great music. As I say, Lou Shields and Mississippi Gabe Carter kicking it off tonight. Tomorrow, the main event starts at 2:30 with Lonesome Tony at 2:30 starting off, followed by Sid Yiddish, Stacy Puckett. Stacy, long time, one of the original members of the Nation. I think he was around pre-Nation back in the Yahoo group days. Stacy Puckett going on stage. Too Sick Charlie. Our good buddy John Nickel. He and Uncle Tom Rhodey Vernon making the trip up from Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama to Chicago. John Nickel going to be on stage there. Cash O'Reilly, who has been a part of the New Orleans Cigar Box Guitar Fest in years past. Glenn Kaiser, a legend of blues and Christian rock and roll from the Res Band days. Now a builder of homemade instruments, a player of homemade instruments, an amazing performer. He's going to be there. And then our good buddy Johnny Lobo, the one and only John Lowe, going to be ending out the night tomorrow. I was talking to Nick earlier. He had a stack of Queen Bee, Arturo Fuente Queen Bee cigar boxes sitting on a table. And just on a whim, I went over and checked the lids to see were the lids plywood, because I know John Lowe likes building Lobos out of those big, wide, flat Fuente boxes that have plywood lids. He does not like the MDF. No MDF lid. He needs plywood for a classic Lobo. Well, I checked all 8 of them. Every one of them plywood. They are shipping out today, sending them down to Memphis. They will hopefully be there when Johnny gets back from Chicago, so that he can get busy building some more of his classic Lobos using those plywood top Queen Bee boxes. He actually prefers King Bees because they're just a little bit bigger, a little bit deeper. But he can make use of the Queens.
We used the Kings for the southbound Katy, right?
We were while we had them.
We got some more back in. So
Oh, do we? Don't tell John.
Don't tell John.
We need to keep the...
Well, they're all spoken for and modified.
All spoken for. Yeah, well, you know, in addition to the performances there in Chicago, there's a nice big space. Brian Rogan, the organizer, the guy who resurrected this fest, organized it this year. Right next door, there's a storefront where I believe he was going to have a space for vendors to set up. So all sorts of good stuff going on there. Go ahead, Nick.
Sorry, shout out to Rusty Taylor. Thanks for the
RT!
shirt.
Yeah, thank you for the shirts. Just want to briefly say hello to some of our folks out there. Jim Morris, Jimbo Burt, Roll Tide out there. Wim Kuipers, I believe from the Netherlands out there, are some of our international Gitty Gangsters. Janice Wilson Hughes, J-Dub, always good to see you. Sue Messias, Martin Shute, Walter, just lost there. Walter Hapuro, Shaq Collins from Jacksonville, good to see you everybody. William Sneed, Damon Park, we are so happy every week that you tune in. I know wherever he is right now, I haven't seen his name pop up. He's probably busy, but Glenn is happy that you're here too. I know Nick is. And our mystery, soon to be introduced, new Gitty Gangster will grow to be as well, I'm sure of it.
Probably
all right.
just not close enough to it, Keith. It's not very powerful at the moment.
What's that?
Keith was asking me to turn my mic up.
I can do that. All right, let him have it.
All right, how's that?
Well, now you're probably coming through everything. I don't even know what the heck's going on.
You're probably going to hear an echo here. That's why we had it turned down.
We don't know. We don't know what's happening. Anyway, Chicago Fest, excited about that. Happening tonight. Proud to be a sponsor of it. CB Gitty helped sponsor that fest to help make sure the musicians get paid and all that. It's good stuff going on. And now, you've probably grown sufficiently tired of hearing me babble on. We have the first of the videos we're going to be sharing with you today. This one is from a Cigar Box Nation member that I first met out at the NAMM show. You know, the big music show out in Anaheim, California. Christopher Amerouso discovered cigar box guitars a while back. He's been a professional guitarist for quite some time. He's put a band together. He's calling it ABS. The drummer, name escapes me, should have it in the thing here, but I don't. He's the drummer from Quiet Riot, you know, the band Quiet Riot. He's got an awesome bass player there, a lady, I believe she's the S of ABS. Last name maybe Sanchez, I can never remember. Anyway, the three of them do a hell of a production there. Chris posted a video earlier this week. Shane got a hold of him. We shared it on the Nation. Chris was good enough to send us a download to the full res. So this is full 1080p, at least on our end. We'll see how it gets broadcast to you, but hope you enjoy this half as much as we have.
All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, if you don't think that's cool, there's something wrong with you. I ain't gonna lie. That's pretty cool stuff right there. I'd like to thank again Christopher Amerouso and his bandmates there for letting us run that that fine video here on the Gitty Gang show. I see Shane Speal out there. I was telling you earlier about this tools and templates sale that we're running. Shane and I, of course, talk quite a bit about marketing things and whatnot, and he was just firing ideas at me this morning of all of the different things I could bring up on stage and show off, string winders and this and that, and the whole fretting kit, everything. This is as far as I got, Shane. I found these two things to bring up on stage with me, just to help illustrate some of the things that are on sale right now through Monday. This actually is our original fretting miter kit. It comes as 3 parts, you glue them together. Shane and I came up with this idea in an afternoon, and it was listed, we came up with it, I think, late morning, and it was listed by that afternoon. Basically, 3 pieces of plywood, when put together, it's got a slot notched in the middle, makes it so you can cut a straight slot in a fretboard or a neck. So this was one of those things I always think back fondly on, of one of those like idea to product in not even a day, you know. Much later, I came up with this here. This is the deluxe fretting miter box. This one is used from multiple layers of plywood that all get put together, glued and screwed, nice and sturdy.
It's a heck of a kit.
Yeah, it's built to design to withstand a direct nuclear strike. Actually, all geared towards cigar box guitar making. It's for 1.5-inch necks there. This isn't for conventional guitars. This isn't for Telecaster necks. Stuff designed specifically for cigar box guitars. And I've got, I'll tell you, a whole list of ideas for this coming year of additional kits, jigs, fixtures, things designed specifically for cigar box guitar builders. Because that's what we're all about. We don't just sit back on our laurels and you know, import stuff and resell it. It's about designing, innovating, coming up with new things. A lot of the tools and templates available in this sale originated here, were designed here, or either printed or cut or made here. I'm pretty proud of that. So 20% through Monday at midnight, you can get 20% off all of these tools and templates. And again, apologies to Shane that I wasn't able to take more of his ideas for what to show off on stage and put them into practice. But you'll have that, you know, running solo, or at least for part of the show. Well, we got Nick here. I forget he's floating there, but running Glenless, running Glenless always is difficult. We'll see how well I fill an hour. We're about 18 minutes in, and I'm 2/3 of the way through the script, so that's a bad sign. You're gonna hear some singing later, though, I'll tell you that. Speaking of Shane, he did put together a video for this week. Some things he had done in the past, some demos of different things. He kind of pulled different things together, put it together, a video for you, said, here, run this during the show, and here we are. And he's out there, so he can tell you more about stuff, if you want to know.
I missed my cue.
Cue, line.
Hey Gitty Gangsters, it's Shane Speal. I just finished 3 guitars this week, and at the end of building each one of them, I'd fire up my phone and do kind of like a first impression video, playing them, hearing how they sounded. Well, 2 of those guitars have already sold, and 1 more is still for sale over at SpealGuitars.com. And I just wanted to share the demo videos with you and some photos, because there's so many CBGs parts on there, and just thought you guys would have a little fun with this. So happy Friday, happy Day of the Dead. It is the Mexican Day of the Dead today. Woo! And so I hope you enjoy the videos. Thanks.
Well, thank you for correcting me on that. All of those videos, as Shane pointed out, were from this week. We talk about so many things. Who can keep track? Anyway, yeah, good stuff there. Thank you. Shaq's monocle nearly fell out. Heavens. Or his, yeah, good Lord. All right, so now I want to change focus a little bit to... When did I work? Oh, there he is. Okay, good. I mentioned last week that I started on a new project, or the continuation of an old project of creating tablature for 3-string cigar box guitars. If you've been following along, I imagine most of you know I've done the hymnals, and I've done, you know, the general songbooks, and we got a Christmas songbook, and all of the Celtic and Irish songbooks. Well, I've turned focus now to old-timey and bluegrass style music, the old traditional songs and tunes that are kind of the basis of a big chunk of American music, Appalachian mountain music, you know, all of that good stuff. Some of it having come over from Ireland and Scotland, you know, the Scotch-Irish immigrants, and then a lot of it coming up from the African-American slaves who were brought over and the music they had, and all just kind of melding and blending together into an amazing chunk, an amazing collection of music. And I'm working my way through a list of 130 songs and tunes for the new songbook. And I've got a few of the ones that I've gotten done already. I've got up here, I was going to sing and play a couple of them for you, and then introduce the newest member of the Gitty Gang, and he can sing and play a couple with me. And just kind of have a good old time, kind of a sing-along deal here. A little bit of a jam session. Now, if you know anything about old-time music and then kind of bluegrass, there's a lot of crossing of the lines there between what is old-time and what is true bluegrass, because, of course, a lot of the bluegrass musicians, Bill Monroe and Ralph Stanley and all them, have covered a lot of the old-time pieces, you know, and such. So, a lot of the themes covered by this music. Of course, you got love and longing, you've got loss, tragic events, big events that they're memorializing. Of course, there's the murder ballads, a lot of train songs in this collection of music. So a bunch of good stuff. And you know, back in the day, of course, there was popular music, Tin Pan Alley, and even earlier vaudeville and all of that. But music, of course, played a much larger role in the lives of people, say 100 years ago, 120 years ago, 150 years ago, a much more important part in their lives as sometimes one of the few sources of entertainment, group entertainment. Of course, they didn't have TV, didn't have movies, at least in the early days, you know, even phonograph records in the early days. They had to make the music themselves, and you know, group singing. I was reading an account, a diary from a trip a couple of ladies took on a train all the way across the country back in 1869, not all that long after the first transcontinental railroad was completed. They took that trip, and a number of the entries had to do with people getting together in the parlor car and singing songs. You know, that was how people came together and entertained themselves and each other through songs, singing, playing. You know, it was such a big part, and in some, you know, sadly for a lot of folks, it has become much less of a part of their lives, especially the entertainment. You know, in our modern world, the way the music industry is, people seem to think that the only way they can get musical entertainment is for it to be handed down to them from the ivory towers at Sony and BMG Music and all of that, auto-tuned, you know, perfected whatnot. Well, the older, you know, the folk tradition, the old-time traditions, that's a lot more about what the roots, as Damon Park says. That's what we're about here, and I know that's what a lot of you out there are about as well. So, you know, bringing that back, hey, who knows? Through everything that we're doing, we here at CB Gitty, you out there building and playing and singing, I sometimes like to think that maybe we'll spark another little folk revival, you know, and kind of help people remember in today's automated, auto-tuned, iPadded world that, you know, there are some deeper roots, and those roots are worth remembering and worth rediscovering. So I'm going to do one here, and then I'm going to get our special guest up here. I've got my hobo fiddle. Stop me if you've heard this one. No, don't stop me. Well, boy, them cabbage down, boys, buy them cabbage down. The only song I ever learned, buy them cabbage down. Possum in the cemetery, raccoon on the ground. Raccoon says you dirty cuss, well, buy them, no, yeah, shake them down. Buy them cabbage down, boys, buy them cabbage down. The only song I ever learned was buy them cabbage down. So, as Sue pointed out, that is a fiddle tune. It's one of many of the old fiddle tunes that are still played, and you know, later words were added, so they're sung as well. You know, Buy Them Cabbage Down, Arkansas Traveler, the Angelina Baker, or Angeline the Baker, Cotton Eye Joe. You know, so many of those great old tunes, Turkey in the Straw, you know, what have you, are part of this tradition. And I have of course I've heard this music and known about it for a long time, but starting to play the fiddle, learning to play the fiddle is what prompted me to rediscover, you know, like, how could I didn't forget, but how could I have overlooked this huge, you know, body of amazing music out there. So much good stuff. So without further ado, I would like to, oh, Louie says hit him up for more verses. I forgot to pull my sheet up, Louie, before I launched into that. I got, you know, 20 or 30 verses here. I realized once I started playing that I couldn't see them, so I did a truncated version. But yeah, that's the thing about a lot of these old tunes, especially the ones that come down from fiddle tunes. There have been many versions sung over the years. Sometimes there's alternate melodies that have gone with them. A whole slew of verses. You know, if you dig deep enough, some of the verses for some of these older ones were now would be considered rather offensive, perhaps. You know, definitely not politically correct. But fortunately, with a lot of them, you know, I feel you can drop out the stuff that doesn't feel comfortable to you, but the song itself, the tune, you know, the core words is worth carrying on. So anyway, I want to introduce now Mr. Dan Woodman, Danny Woodman, coming up to the stage here. I have been playing music with him for a number of years now, better part of a decade, off and on. He first met him at a Irish and Celtic singing session at Mel Flanagan's Pub here in Rochester, New Hampshire. I've since started more regularly going to the Celtic session held every Sunday down at Cara's Pub in Dover, New Hampshire, right next door, hosted by Frank Lanford. Dan, you are a multi-instrumental musician. What all do you play?
Well, I play a little bit of guitar, a little bit of mandolin, harmonicas, and penny whistle. I'm not very good at any of them, but I'm mostly a singer.
better than quite a few. And, of course, a singer-songwriter. Turns out a bit of a rail fan. Probably much bigger, better studied rail fan than I am. But,
well, I don't know about that.
Well, you know a lot more about the different engines and the numbers and stuff, and I just kind of glaze over a little bit. But so, I thought we could maybe do a couple more old-timey type tunes, maybe a couple of train songs with Danny up here. And recently, last week, actually Monday will be his first full-time day. He has become a member of the CBGs family here, helping us out in the wood shop. Been out there working on cutting fret wire and making slides and sanding and all sorts of good stuff. So hopefully we'll be a fairly regular sight here on the Friday Gitty Gang show. The first one we want to do is one I think the first time I ever heard it sung live was you singing. Rock Island Line, old traditional tune that Lead Belly, of course, helped bring to the forefront way back in the 40s or 30s even. He might have had a first go at this. So what were we going to play on this? You were going to play the mando.
Yep.
This is a cigar box mandolin I built a few years back for St. Patrick's Day. It's got a resonator cone in there. I'm probably going to need to bring this down just a hair there. So it's got a dog bowl resonator in there. I call it a mandolin, but it's kind of like a hybrid octave mandolin sort of thing. A longer scale. I don't even know what that scale is. 19? 20? Might be 20-inch scale. 4 strings instead of the double coarse 8 strings that a mandolin usually has. But the little mando banjo that you play at the session, that has 4 strings, right?
Yep. It originally had 8 strings, but 2 of the little on the bridge, 2 of the little holes wore together. So I'm just like,
on the
heck with
saddle.
it. I don't feel like tuning an 8-string instrument. I'm lazy.
All right, so you do this pretty fast, but you set the...
Yeah. Be a good speed?
Works for me.
Oh, the Rock Island Line is a mighty good road. Oh, the Rock Island Line is a road to ride. Oh, the Rock Island Line is a mighty good road. If you want to ride, you got to ride it like trying to get your ticket at the station on the Rock Island Line. Jesus died to save our sins. Glory to God, we're gonna need him again. Oh, the Rock Island Line is a mighty good road. Oh, the Rock Island Line is a road to ride. The Rock Island Line is a mighty good road. If you want to ride it, gotta ride it like you're trying to get your ticket at the station on the Rock Island Line. A, B, C, double X, Y, Z. Cat's in the cupboard, but he can't see me. Oh, the Rock Island Line is a mighty good road. Oh, the Rock Island Line is a road to ride. The Rock Island Line is a mighty good road. If you want to ride it, gotta ride it like you're trying to get your ticket at the station on the Rock Island Line.
Well, this is where we could really use somebody who could do a solo.
Yeah, I can't pick to save my life.
I can do all right if I had my hobo fiddle now instead of this 6-string. I might be able to get something going.
And if I had my harmonicas.
Yeah, but we don't have any of that, so we're just going to go on to the next verse.
A little Evelina sitting in the shade, figuring out money I ain't made. Oh, the Rock Island Line is a mighty good road. Oh, the Rock Island Line is a road to ride. The Rock Island Line is a mighty good road. If you want to ride it, gotta ride it like you're trying to get your ticket at the station on the Rock Island Line. I may be right and I may be wrong. I know you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. Oh, the Rock Island Line is a mighty good road. Oh, the Rock Island Line is a road to ride. Oh, the Rock Island Line is a mighty good road. If you want to ride it, gotta ride it like you're trying to get your ticket at the station on the Rock Island Line. Oh, the Rock Island Line is a mighty good road. Oh, the Rock Island Line is a road to ride. The Rock Island Line is a mighty good road. If you want to ride it, gotta ride it like you're trying to get your ticket at the station on the Rock Island Line.
That's a good. I've always loved that ever since I first first learned it. It's got that driving sort of chugga 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 chugga. You know, it feels like a train moving.
I should have won my Rock Island Railroad hat.
I've got a couple of engineer hats around here somewhere. I think out in wardrobe.
They can't sue us for copyright infringement since they no longer. They've been gone since 1980.
What's the other one that we had going there?
It was,
another
Folsom.
train. Folsom Prison Blues. That's one that comes up with a decent amount of regularity here on the Gitty Gang show.
Mm-hmm.
For this one, I think I will switch over here. Do a little hobo fiddling on this.
I hear that train a-comin', it's rollin' round the bend. I ain't seen the sunshine since I train keeps a rolling on down to San Antonio. When I was just a baby, my mama told me, son, always be a good boy, don't ever play with guns. But I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. When I hear that whistle blowing, I hang my head and cry. Probably drinking coffee and smoking brick cigars. But I know I had it coming, I know I can be free. But those people keep moving, and that's what tortures me. Well, if they free me from this prison, if that railroad train was mine, then I'd move it on a little farther down the line, far from Folsom prison. That's where I want to stay. And I let that lonesome whistle don't blow my blues away. I said I let that lonesome whistle don't blow my blues away.
Woo-woo! Yeah. Oh, I've got a train whistle over there somewhere in the props department. Well, thank you for that. Yeah, I tell you what, there's a whole lot of train songs. Actually, here's one. I don't know how well you know this one. It's in the key of G. This is one that I just recently tabbed out for the first time for the new upcoming songbook. It is All the Good Times Are Past and Gone.
I saw this one.
Wish to the Lord I'd never been born or died when I was young. I'd never have seen your sparkling blue eyes or heard your lying tongue. Well, all the good times are past and gone. All the good times are gone. All the good times are past and gone. Little darling, don't you weep no more. Well, don't you see that passing train going round the bend? It's taken away my own true love and never to return again. Well, all the good times past and gone. All the good times are over. All the good times past and gone. Little darling, don't you weep no more. But can't you see that turtle dove flying from pine to pine? She's mourning for her own true love, just like I mourn for mine. Well, all the good times are past and gone. All the good times are over there. Well, all the good times are past and gone. Little darling, don't you weep no more. One more time on the chorus. All those good times are past and gone. All those good times are over. All those good times are past and gone. Little darling, don't you weep no more. You know, that is one good thing about having played in sessions together for a while, you know. You can kind of hit the ending on occasion there.
Yep.
So. All right, well, thank you, all of you, for the nice words and the such, for welcoming Danny onto the show, newest member of the Gitty Gangsters. I know we are going to make a lot of good music together. All right. Well, just a couple more things for you today. Speaking of old-time music and the people who make it, of course, you know, he's probably still out there right now. Our good buddy Jim Morris recently posted a video to the Friends of Gitty group of him playing a fiddle he made from an old coffee tin. If you can see in the preview up there, that's an actual old Arbuckle Brothers coffee tin that Jim turned into a fiddle and then played a tune on. Hopefully he won't mind that I pulled that down, that short video down from the Friends of Gitty group so that we could run it for you today. Take a quick look and a listen to Jim play it. It sounds pretty darn good. It doesn't sound quite as tinny as you might think a coffee tin fiddle would. So here you go, short video from our buddy Jim Morris. Tell you what, Jim Morris could make just about anything sound great, I think. That's pretty darn cool stuff. Danny, Louie LaManna, one of our great friends of CB Gitty, one of our regular viewers, was wondering about your strumming technique there. What do you got going on with your strumming?
I don't know, it just sort of evolved that way. I just never was comfortable with a pick.
So you prefer not to use a pick now, so you're mostly using your thumb?
Yep.
So,
Yeah,
so on that last one we were doing there, all the good times are past and gone in G.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start it back up.
All the good times are past and gone. All the good times are over. All the good times are past and gone. Little darling, don't you weep no more.
I hadn't really paid attention to what you were doing previously, but it turns out what you're doing is pretty darn close to what I do when I don't use a pick. So
Yeah.
on the mandolin, the low string when played open is a G, same as the low string on a 3-string cigar box guitar. So what Danny was doing there was hitting that bass note. All the good times are past and gone. So you kind of hit that low note, bong, chimka, bong, bong, ding a ding, ding a ding, ding a ding, ding a ding, ding, ding a ding, ding. So I'm sure there's a technical term for that style of picking, whether it's
Dan Woodman's primitive style of picking.
primitive style. But a lot of guitar players or banjo, other things will use that style of drop thumb. I don't know what you call it now. It's definitely different from claw hammer style, which I've never quite gotten the hang of. But some people will use that drop thumb and then use the fingernails.
Yeah.
All the good times past and gone. All the good times are over. Now, I sometimes will use kind of like primitive claw hammer, simplified claw hammer. I'll use my index finger and my thumb. You'll see the other fingers flying around there, but These three aren't touching anything. It's just the index finger and the thumb. All the good times are past and gone. Just because that fingernail of the index finger on the can give you a little punchier. And also, if I really get going, that fingernail will come down and hit the box top. So you can get a little bit of rhythm, percussion in there behind it too. So usually, like when playing my banjo at a session or such, I will use a pick. When I'm strumming by myself, you know, at home or just picking for myself, I usually will use that two-finger style. So yes, that's our lesson on thumb thing, as Sue Messias calls it. Thumb thing picking there.
Something, yeah, I remember that.
Primitive thumbery. But anyway, that coffee tin fiddle that Jim Morris built sounds really good. You know, there's that old saying that a master musician, a master player can take the crappiest instrument. Like I've got a cheap little crapo fiddle over there that when I play it sounds like a cat being badly mistreated. A master violinist could pick that up and make it sound great, you know, whereas a novice can pick up the best violin or the best guitar and still not sound as good as they want to. So, you know, the quality of the instrument, a lot of people will use that as an excuse. Well, I can't go to a jam session and play. I can't make a video of myself because my guitar isn't good enough, or you know, something isn't good enough. But what I'm trying to get at is don't hold yourself back. You know, it's easy to procrastinate, saying, well, once I get a real instrument, then I can do all these things. Like, you know, a lot of people have made a lot of great music with non-real, unconventional instruments, let's say.
I started with a mandolin and had to crap beaten out of it.
Well, you know,
cheap, yeah.
I bought a violin, an actual fiddle, a conventional fiddle last weekend at a music shop, and it was, of all the ones they had, the one I didn't bring it with me today, of all the ones they had, it was the most beat up. It had the most dings, it was the roughest looking, but of all the ones I played, that one had that sound, the tone I was looking for, warm, rich, mellow tone. And a bunch of the ones that looked a lot better just didn't have it. So
It's very much the way that Stevie Ray Vaughan, he picked up #1 at a pawn shop for like $20, something like that back then, and it turned into the best guitar. It's all about feel and the musician.
it is.
Look at Willie Nelson with Trigger.
Poor old Trigger.
You ever seen the video where they repair the Trigger?
I remember it coming up on the. I think it was posted on the Nation at one
A hole
point.
through the soundboard,
Right through the
plan.
boy. So we did a couple of train songs earlier, and it turns out next week, I have no idea what next week's Gitty Gang show will be because I won't be here. I am taking the train to Ohio. I'm going to take the Amtrak out of South Station in Boston overnight and get off bright and early in the morning in Sandusky, Ohio, the town I was born in, and spend a few days there visiting family and whatnot. If you've ever traveled by train or even thought about it, there are some things to know or to be aware of. It is a little different. Now, if you're on a commuter train, like on the Northeast Corridor, if you're going between Washington and New York or Boston or anything, that's a little different. They fly right through. They're usually on time. You know, they move a lot of people quickly. The long distance trains, the cross country trains, can be a little different. You can't be my giddies out there. Yep. You can't be in a huge hurry if you're going to take a long distance train. Like if you've got to catch, I know nobody takes a boat anymore, but say you got to get to San Francisco to catch the steamer for Hong Kong, and it's leaving at a certain time. the train might not be for you. You know, if you got tight connections to make. For me, taking the train long distance, it's as much about the journey as it is the destination. You know, some people go to a spa to kind of refresh and relax and rejuvenate. I get on a train. Now, often by the time I get off the train, I'm like, well, that's about enough train traveling for a while. But once a year, at least, couple times a year, it's a good thing for me mentally. I'm going to have my hobo fiddle with me. I hope to maybe write a couple new train songs. Danny and I were talking earlier. He's written some train songs. I've written some train songs. We're going to be able to do a whole train show one of these days, just all trains all day long. But write a couple new songs. Yeah, we're well trained. So yeah, trains often are late because, you know, Amtrak operates the trains. They don't own the rails, at least outside of the Northeast Corridor. They don't own the rails they're running over. So they're going over CSX rails, they're going over Norfolk Southern, BSNF. And technically, they're supposed to have the right of way. The freight trains are supposed to get out of the way, but sometimes they don't quite as quickly as passengers would like. So, you know, there are some challenges to traveling by rail. But for me, like, going one way, it doesn't so much matter exactly what time I get there. In fact, it's scheduled to hit Sandusky at 4:50 a.m. If it's 3 hours late, I'll be all right with that because I can sleep a little bit longer, you know. But it'll be a good thing, I think. Kind of a sort of a modern day hobo in a way, although riding the cushions is a lot different from riding the rods and the platforms back in the day. But maybe it depends on how the coverage is on my phone. I might be able to do a little broadcast from the rails, from my compartment, play a few train songs from the train like I've done on past journeys, but we'll see about that. I don't know. So yeah, Dan, you said you haven't gone long distance by Amtrak yet, but you want to, right?
Yeah, maybe someday. Yeah.
Someday. Well,
I'm a bit of a homebody, but
well, I've done it both by in coach. You know, you can travel in coach, which basically you get a seat, and if you're going to be on that train for, you know, some of them like the Empire Builder and the Southwest Chief, like, it's a couple of days, you know, to get from Chicago to Seattle or Chicago to LA. You're going to be in that seat a long time. For those long distance ones, it's more money, but get in a sleeper. You get your little sleeper compartment so you can actually lay down and sleep. Definitely recommend it. But someone had asked earlier if I was going to be at the Chicago Fest. Unfortunately, no, I'm not going to be able to make it for that. I'm still here in New Hampshire, and it's kicking off here in a couple hours, so that'd be a tight schedule. But yes, live from the rails this coming Wednesday, maybe. We'll see how I'm feeling. Got one more video for you, and here I was worried about filling an hour. Look at that, we're already at 2:56. So this is another one that was shared to the Friends of Gitty page this week. Maybe you've seen him before. He shared a few videos. William Green. He's an awesome player. He's playing a double-neck, dowel-neck, kind of Lobo-ish guitar in this one with the slide. Anytime William posts a video, he is so happy. You can tell this guy is having fun with what he's doing. And it's just, he's an inspiration to me. So here's just a couple of minutes of him. He posted this yesterday. I believe it was a Halloween song. He's doing some pretty cool stuff with that slide. So short video, and then we'll be back, send you off with the song, and that'll be it. just tell he's having a great time with it. I love that. Rob is asking where Glenn is. Glenn is in the volunteer state. He's down in Tennessee this weekend. He will hopefully be back for the Gitty Gang show this coming week. I haven't talked to him or Glenn about, or him or Nick about what it might consist of, because I will not be here. I'll be in Ohio. But we'll see. Yeah, Glenn will be back. Don't be scared.
Don't worry, we'll have a show.
There'll be a show, folks. All new.
I'll do. Or
Tune in
if
next
not,
week.
then
All
I'll
new
run
show.
a bunch of clips from past shows.
Yeah,
It'll be great.
a best of. Always time for a best of. Just a couple of reminders. Tools and templates sale going on at cbgitty.com right now. 20% off all of our tools. Pointing to something you can't see, the scarf joint kit, the miter joint jig kit, all of our fretting templates, sound hole templates, drilling all of that good stuff on sale, 20% off. The fretting tools, should have brought one in, forgot. The bevel files, the leveling files, the nippers, the hammer, saws, all of it, 20% off with the coupon code TOOLKIT19, TOOLKIT19. All one word. During checkout, you'll get 20% off. Starting tonight, the Chicago Cigar Box Guitar Festival over there in Chicago, kicking off this evening and carrying on tomorrow. It's going to be a good time, good stuff. And then, of course, mid-January, the New Orleans Cigar Box Guitar Festival coming up once we round the horn into 2020. Still waiting for clearance to start spreading the big news that is coming up around that festival. Good things happening. It's going to be a great time. So why don't we send them off with one there, Dan? This is one, if you've seen the movie Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? This is one of many great songs. You know, I'm talking about old-time music, bluegrass. There's so many great songs that were in that movie. If you haven't, I know you've all seen it. I'm preaching to the choir here, but... All right, here's one. Ralph Stanley recorded this. Johnny Cash, Emmylou Harris. Pretty much anybody who's anybody has recorded this one. Good old gospel / old-timey / hymn, mountain music, whatever you want to call it. It's Angel Band.
My latest sun is sinking fast. My race is nearly run. My strongest trials now are past. Triumph has begun. Oh, come, angel band, come and around me stand. Oh, bear me away on your snow white wings. My immortal home. Oh, bear me away on your snow white wings. My immortal home. I know I'm near the holy ranks of friends and kindred dear. I hear the waves on Jordan's banks. Crossing must be near. Oh, come, angel band, come and around me stand. Oh, bear me away on your snow white wings. My immortal home. Oh, bear me away on your snow white wings. My immortal home. One more. Oh, bear my longing heart to Him who prayed and died for me, whose blood now cleanses from all sin and gives me victory. Oh, come, angel band, come and around me stand. Oh, bear me away on your snow white wings. My immortal home. Oh, bear me away on your snow white wings. My immortal home.
Not bad for unrehearsed, huh? All right, well, thank you all for joining us. Welcome again to Danny, fine new addition to the Gitty Gang. We'll have Glenn back next week. I'll be on a train. All sorts of great stuff happening. Thank you, as always, for spending this hour with us on your Friday afternoon. You know we love you, and we'll be back. So, oh wait, I didn't tell you. There's a theme song.
A theme song?
Surprise!
There's a theme song to this show. It's basically a blues shuffle in G, and then to the C, and then D, back to the G, D. So it's basically a boogie woogie.
All right. Wish me luck. This is two fingers. This isn't anything I'm seeing. I'm crossing my fingers.
Speaking of unrehearsed. Well, it's the Gitty Gang Show on Cigar Box Nation TV. It's the Gitty Gang Show on Cigar Box Nation TV. And we came to you live from CBGs. See, it's like falling off a log. I say all you need is a sticker box and some strings. I'm saying all you need is a sticker box and some strings. Well, you put them all together, you know they're gonna ring. Well, it's the Gitty Gang Show. Gitty Gang Show. It's the Gitty Gang Show. Gitty Gang Show. It's the Gitty Gang Show. Gitty Gang Show. Said the Gitty Gang Show. Whoa, whoa. Gitty Gang Show. It's the Gitty Gang Show on Cigar Box Nation TV. All right, now we're done officially. Good job. Trying to not to throw.